Take a look at this satellite image from China. At first glance, it shows nothing but an empty, arid desert landscape. But right in the middle, there's something unusual, some kind of structure. As we zoom in, it looks just like an aircraft carrier, the kind used by militaries around the world as floating air bases, complete with runways, fighter jets, and weapons. But this one isn't in the ocean. It's in the middle of the desert. The satellite image was taken over the Taklamakan Desert in northwestern China. Normally, aircraft carriers operate in the harsh conditions of the open sea, but this region, while far drier, is no less extreme. From a global perspective, the Taklamakan Desert is a fascinating place. Unlike surrounding rocky deserts, this one is made almost entirely of sand and is the second largest sand desert in the world. Vast, uninhabited, and seemingly untouched by humans, it stretches out like a giant eye made of sand, a landscape so alien it almost looks like it belongs on another planet. So why would the Chinese military build such structures here? In recent years, China has made headlines for its expanding aircraft carrier program. Just 15 years ago, China didn't have a single aircraft carrier. Today, it has 3. However, a closer look at the structure reveals something strange. The design does not match China's own carriers. Instead, it closely resembles American aircraft carriers, particularly the Gerald R. Ford class used by the United States Navy. Nearby, satellite images show train tracks cutting through the desert. On the other side of the tracks is another structure, this one resembling an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. The resemblance is striking, not only in its overall shape, but also in detailed features such as the bridge, funnels, and vertical launch missile system. However, it appears flat and simplified, suggesting it is a mock-up rather than a real ship. Historical satellite imagery supports this theory. In 2020, the site appeared as a grid of structures arranged in the shape of an American warship. Over time, the outline became more clearly defined. The aircraft carrier structure also appears to be a mock-up, with earlier images showing multiple outlines and tall metal poles forming different versions of carrier shapes. The train tracks themselves are unusual. Instead of running straight across the flat desert, they curve sharply and twist for no apparent reason. Following the tracks north leads to a base facility with a large hangar and support buildings. Following them south, the tracks simply end in the desert with no clear purpose. To understand why China built these mock-ups, it helps to look at real-world tensions. U.S. aircraft carriers frequently operate near China, particularly in the South China Sea and around Taiwan. In the South China Sea, multiple nations claim overlapping territories, while China claims almost the entire sea as its own. To reinforce these claims, China has built artificial islands and military outposts. In response, the U.S. regularly conducts freedom of navigation operations in the region. The second major conflict involves Taiwan. While Taiwan operates as a de facto independent nation, mainland China considers it a renegade province. The threat of a Chinese invasion is taken seriously, and the U.S. maintains a strong naval presence in the Taiwan Strait. These two conflicts have the potential to escalate, and China appears to be preparing for such scenarios. The desert structures are believed to be practice targets used to test whether Chinese missiles can accurately strike U.S. warships. The vertical metal poles may function as sensors or radar reflectors, helping simulate the radar signature of real ships. Satellite imagery from other test sites suggests China has successfully struck these targets. However, real warships do not remain stationary. This is where the train tracks become important. Along the tracks, another aircraft carrier mock-up appears, this one more complex and three-dimensional. According to experts, the curved tracks allow China to simulate evasive maneuvers, such as sharp turns or sudden speed changes, mimicking how a real carrier might try to avoid missile strikes. China is not alone in using mock-ups for training. Iran has built replicas of U.S. aircraft carriers for missile tests, and the U.S. military itself regularly trains with mock enemy equipment. What concerns U.S. analysts is that China is testing advanced weapon systems, including a specialized version of the Dongfeng 21D missile designed to target moving aircraft carriers. This missile follows a ballistic trajectory and releases a maneuverable re-entry vehicle capable of adjusting its path mid-air to strike moving targets. Supported by an expanded satellite network, this system makes interception extremely difficult. As a result, U.S. carriers may be forced to operate farther from China, reducing their effectiveness. Conducting these tests openly